Who was that? Barbara called out. Placing the phone down, she ran out into the landing, doing her best to work out which room Miss Falconer would sleep. She found Sally stood by her mother's bed, tears rolling down her cheek. "He must be watching me," Sally said as she placed down the receiver. Her hand was quite visibly shaken. "Someone's been threatening me to—" It sounded like the same person. "That's what I wanted to tell you. That caller told me to go into the woods and play Sarah. You just went and did it," Barbara bawled. She felt her head become heavy with that same mist. At that very same moment the phone began to ring again. Both girls ran back to their posts. Sally picked up. "Hello?" "Hi Sally, it's Mum," came the voice from the other end. "I was just checking you were okay." "I'm fine Mum." Sally took a huge sigh of relief. "How many times do I have to tell you I'll be fine when you work on—" "I know that." Miss Falconer laughed. "I'm afraid I'll be home later than planned. I've just got a load of new paperwork to do." "What time do you think you'll be back Mum?" "About 8:15. See you later." The line clicked off. Barbara slammed the receiver down, and went back in with Sally. "Why didn't you tell her about that blasted caller?" she demanded. Sally said nothing, just stared as if Barbara were invisible. "The caller hurt my mum. He rang me up a couple of weeks ago, told me to go into the woods and giggle. I just laughed at him." Sally sat slowly on her mother's bed. "He threatened to hurt someone if I didn't do what he told me. Then one night someone attacked my mum." "How did you know it was the same person?" "He rang me up just after, and that he had proof. The next moment my mum came home, she said someone had knocked her over. She started swinging her legs back and forth. After that I did what he told me." "Then what did you do?" Barbara said she was starting to get a little angry. "I didn't want him to hurt my mum, so I did what he said. On the Friday night before I met you I went into the woods and giggled." Barbara hissed, finishing the sentence. She felt her hands turn into fists. "That's what I heard. I thought that would be it, but it wasn't," Sally continued. "He must have been watching the house because he rang the next time she worked late. Ordered me to get on Sarah's swing. Lead me right to that blasted dummy. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad. I'm sure you'd do the same if your mum was in danger." "I understand." Barbara calmed herself down. "Did you see anyone in the woods when I chased you?" "Someone placed a dummy that looked like Sarah. I think it was her body. And that same person that just threatened you also rang me. Told me to get out or die." "Do you have any idea who it might be?" "None," Sally admitted. She ran her hand through her hair. "It's been such a nightmare since the calls started. You've been such a great friend to me. I really am sorry." She placed a hand in her pocket, and drew out a little plastic bag. Inside was a key. "It's a key to your house. He placed it in my bag." Barbara patted her friend's shoulder, comforting her. "We'll catch the prat that's doing this." "But who is it? Would it be Creeps?" Had he hit Miss Falconer with that stick of his? He had done the same to a caller on the phone, warning her to leave. But he hadn't said I'd die, but said it was for my own good. Or is it Jeff? He was out in the woods when I was puttied out. But there was no way he would have had time to place a puppy in the lock. I was with him all evening. It was also confusing, but the main question on her mind was why. Both girls sat down in the kitchen, waiting for their sausage rolls to cook. Again darkness fell, but not the clear dark from the moonlit sky, but thick clouds spreading out across the dim sky. They were both trying to shut out the horrible events from their minds. Barbara wanted to get to know her friend a little better. "Do you have a father? I mean around here?" "No, Mum fell pregnant with me in the city. When she came back my grandparents had gone. Everyone treated my mum like a complete stranger. She couldn't help but revert back to the current problem." "Sally, do you have any idea who it might be?" "You must have your own thoughts." "I have asked myself that over and over, but I can't come up with anything. Winterfield is such a close-knit community, I can't understand why anyone would do it." When the timer alarm sounded, it made them both jump. Sally got to her feet and opened the oven. "If we keep this up we're going to have high blood pressure or heart attacks." "Know what you mean. My parents left the city to leave the stress behind. Looks like both of theirs gets passed down to me." Both girls laughed at that. Setting the table about eating their meal, they turned on the television and flicked through the channels to see if there was anything worth watching on. Time drifted on. The next time Barbara looked at the clock. It's 7:45. My parents are going to be getting worried. She got to her feet. Your mum should be back soon anyway. A look of concern crept across her face. Sally noted it. Don't worry, I'll be fine. She smiled. Thanks for coming over tonight. It's nice to have someone around. This place can get quite lonely if you're sure you'll be okay. I could always go on. I'll see you in the cantina tomorrow lunchtime. Barbara gave the front of the house another quick run over with her eyes, wondering if it had at any time had anything to do with the Winterfield family. Hesitantly she left the front garden out onto the street. The older part of the town was very poorly lit. It seemed as though this was the way it was back when the town was made. The sky was burdened with rain waiting to fall. Barbara was starting to wish she had rung home, get her dad to give her a lift home. It didn't take her many minutes of walking up and down endless, but gloomy, empty streets to realize that she was lost. Oh, great, I doubt I'll be able to find my way back to Sally's house, let alone go home. She sighed, letting her shoulders drop. Shivering, it was starting to get cold. She wrapped her arm round herself, trying to keep a little warmth. The light sleet began to fall to the ground. Oh, this is the last thing I need. It's no wonder I hate this place so much. Not having a clue what to do, if she carried on going, getting even more lost. I'm going to get drenched if I stay here. Barbara began pacing aimlessly, looking around for the Falconers' house. But as they all looked alike in the daylight, now it was near most impossible to distinguish between one from another. The next thing she realized, she was standing in front of the fence that led into the Winterfield estate. Now I know I am lost. This fence goes back miles. Relief broke her chain of thought as she heard footsteps, and they sounded close. It may be someone that could help me. Maybe they'll let me use their phone. Hello? She called out. I'm lost. Could you help me? Only the wind whispered an empty reply. The footsteps appeared to have stopped. Ah. They'd be probably gone indoors out of this wet weather, not bothered about a person lost and alone. But no, the footfalls began once again. They seemed to be all around her. Was it the person that Sally said he may have been watching her house, the one that assaulted her mother? Barbara's pace quickened. She knew this could be a matter of life or death. She needed help, and fast. Stumbling along, she tried to locate where the steps were coming from. Were they behind, or in front of her, waiting in the shadows to pounce? In a split second she knew, as a jab of pain shot up her leg as she fell face first to the ground. Something cracked right next to her, and silence. Everything was a blur. She touched her face, but her glasses had fallen off. Then for a moment a dark shadow stood before her, when something clumped her on the shoulder blades, as darkness clothed her sight.